welcome back to the pod, guys. We're here with Jimmy Rex, the man, the myth, the legend. Man, I owe you a lot of thanks for a lot of big things that have happened in my life over the last year and a half, bro.
Well, dude, you're doing the work, man. It's fun to watch guys go all in, dive in, and and it's funny because it doesn't mean that you figure it all out. It means that you're in the process of it all, myself included, and so it's fun to go through it with just fun, cool people,
Yeah, it's been a wild journey, man. But that's kind of how the pod came to be. Yeah. But we've just been cruising. It's been such a good system because like I do nothing besides show up. Like this dude is an amazing partner on this thing. Like getting our SD cards and editing situated and then getting everything uploaded and stuff. Like I don't think I would have hit this many episodes without him.
It's awesome.
Like definitely don't think so.
That's probably not true, but
I don't know, dude. Like when it comes to editing and uploading, what's yours? You just have Rookery do everything for yours, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of them. The first year I did it on my own. So it's funny. My very first episode, I hired these two high school kids actually from out here from Twilla, which I love you guys. There's no way in hell I'd drive out to Twilla on a Saturday morning to do a stupid podcast.
I know. I'm so surprised you did. I'm honestly honored.
For you guys, I did, but whatever.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. But anyway, it was my buddy's kids, and one of them would hold like the mics, and then the other one was doing the camera. And I was trying to do it right, but the quality just wasn't there. And so then I actually had a chance to meet with Tim Ferriss. We did New Year's party together, and at the time he had the #1 podcast in America, and he gave me some advice and told me what to buy and stuff. And so I got all the different equipment, and then I would just go do it on my own. So yeah, I usually would go to them. So I had this like little recorder thing and a couple mics that I would set down, and it worked good. I mean, it was only audio, which kind of sucked. But so my first like 150 episodes was audio only, and it was usually me just going to the people.
Dang. How long did it take you to get the first 150?
I was putting out 2 a week usually. So, I mean, that was probably a year and a half. Yeah.
That's wild. What made you want to start the pod?
So it's interesting. So I was at a Tony Robbins event about 8-9 years ago. It was, I guess, 9 years ago. And he was talking about AI in the future. And he said that, within 5 to 6 years, AI will be so advanced that if you have about 400 hours of your voice and talking how you would talk, then with 98 to 99% accuracy, an AI could be created that would answer questions the way that you would.
No,
we were seeing that now. It's like basically what exists now. And so I was like, I really always had this feeling I was going to die young. I think I've already surpassed where I thought I was going to get to. And so I was like, well, if I die, it'd be cool legacy, just leave something behind where people have your voice. Mm-hmm. And then also I was like, I want to get those 400 hours in so that, I can kind of live on forever. And on top of that, I just kind of knew, like as a real estate agent at the time, I knew it was going to be the best way to network. So I knew it would be a great tool to reach out to the most successful people in Utah. Originally, it was just going to be Utah people. And then you start getting some cool interviews outside of Utah. I'm not going to say no. And so it became more of a national podcast. But and so I just used it. I knew it would be a great networking thing. And so that was the other reason I was wanting to do it.
Yeah. And you've been doing, how long have you been
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah, I got almost 700 episodes.
There you go.
Bro, that's inspiring. I went into this like, okay, I want to get 100. Like I want to get 100 recorded episodes with like my friends. Yeah. That's like the main thing just to have for like my
Which is, by the way, awesome, right? Yeah. Like perfect. For me, it was, I give people advice. They ask me, I'm going to start a podcast. What's your best advice? And I say one thing, do it in a way so that you love it no matter what. If nobody was listening and you never make $1, because that's probably going to be the case, you never got a social media following from it. If you love doing it anyways, then do it and do it that way. Because I just love doing my podcast. Like I get the coolest podcasts ever, and now I'm to the point where I can reach out to just about anybody on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Like there's this lady, and I just think she's really dope. Her stuff's cool. She's really cute. She's single. So I'm like, I'm going to reach out to this girl and this lady and get her on my podcast. So what I do is I'll go and I'll see who they're following on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And so I send them a quick message. It says, hey, would love to have you on my podcast. I'm almost 700 episodes in. I've interviewed some people you follow. Here's who I've interviewed that you know. And it's like, Grant Cardone, Layla Hermosi, Chris Williamson. It's like I'm just hitting them with Ed Milet, these names. And they say yes every single time. And so we've connected, and we're going to do a podcast here in the next couple of weeks.
That's dope.
But I can do that with almost anybody now.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Well, to your point, as far as podcasts not paying for themselves, we actually are an exception. This is in the positive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got sponsors or what?
Yeah, Happi Roofing, bro. Oh. No, we actually had a guy, Reagan Popoff, he came out for like what, our second or third episode? I think it was our third episode. He like came in from Texas, and he has quite a few followers on Instagram and stuff. And it did like pretty well. I think we got like 3,000 views.
I think it's at 4 now. Almost.
4,000 views, and like average watch time's like an hour. But anyways, we got, just from like talking about my company and stuff, we have 3 people now working for us directly from that episode.
Oh, well, I'll say this, like indirectly, I've made millions off my podcast.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the amount of homes that I've sold, people that have joined Watt, I mean, the average guy does 2 years in Watt, he's going to spend 35, 40 grand by the time he's done. You get somebody buys a house, it's a 20,000 on average dollar commission. So you add all that up, and it's immeasurable.
The indirect like benefits are crazy. Like I can't believe how fast I noticed it. It was like, wow, there's literally people here because of the podcast.
That's awesome, man.
And we're just like messing around. Like, I don't even know.
It's fun when you start thinking about, the influence that you can have, like the amount of people whose lives are different because you existed, right? It's like somebody the other day put a thing on Twitter, and they're like, if Joseph Smith would have just picked a church, I would have never lived in Utah. My entire life would be completely different. It's like some guy 200 years ago makes this decision, and the ripple effect of all that. And like, I just think of like, even with We Are the They, right? If I never started that company, how many things just never would have taken place. How many people would have never met? How many situations would have been different? It's just crazy, the amount of effect that you can have.
Yeah. I mean, this house, like I literally bought this house indirectly because of you. Like it's through Brad Lancaster put me in contact with Steve. And that's how I was able to get like the mortgage, and everything was through him. And it's just crazy. And then like my relationship with Maddie, dude, like when we first started, our relationship looked completely different. When I first started We Are the They, it looked completely different relationship as to what it is now. And like specifically what it's been really recently, also because like, you had the B1 conference this year. It was the relationship conference, right? Which I actually want to ask what the motivation behind that. But one of the speakers you had, Matt and Laura Greiner, they're our coaches. We've been going to them for like a month and a half. And that's just been another thing that's been super helpful.
Yeah. Have you brought them on your podcast yet?
No.
Oh, you should.
No, I should.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Yeah, I'll have to bring them on. We've been getting through our list of guests. So yeah, we gotta keep our eyes open for new ones. But so what was how come you didn't want to do more of like the business approach, networking approach that you normally do with the B1?
Sure. I mean, I'm always trying to innovate and do stuff different than, and I have a really good pulse. One thing that I've always done in my entire career has been a little bit of a step ahead of everyone else. And so even with the podcast, right? I mean, 9 years ago, bro, nobody knew how to do a podcast. Like it was pretty wild. Even launching my coaching group when I did was ahead of the game. And even with real estate, I was ahead of the game working with realtors. I was ahead of the game working with investors. I was ahead of the game with social media and video. And so some of these things, I just kind of see things coming. And I just felt like the traditional bring in 7 or 8 big speakers, have them talk, like it was just kind of played out. I felt like there wasn't a need for that. It's like one of those things, you can do it and people will enjoy it, but it didn't feel like it was going to really change anything for anybody. But I said, where could I have the most impact and truly make a difference for people? And I realized, you know what? I think it's if we really focus on their relationships. And I have these amazing coaches and friends that are in the space of relationships specifically. So there's a couple other guys, a guy named Matt Boggs. He's got a couple million followers on Instagram or on YouTube. And he was going to come in. And then Mark Groves, who his page is Create the Love. He's got millions of followers. He was planning to come in. And then Stefanos Safondos and Bea Voce, these, different speakers. And I've coached with a lot of them. I've been on their podcasts. I've, spoken to them quite a bit. And so I knew how good their material is. And And so I was like, this is something that would really change people if they come. And I want to include the wives and girlfriends. I'm always trying to look for ways to do that. And so that's how I came up with the relationship event. And it was awesome. I mean, everybody that went, I got as much feedback as anything I've ever done of like how, impactful that was.
Yeah, I think it was a really impactful event. I think it was really cool. I think it's awesome that you're able to feel that instead of just being like, oh, this is what we've always done. Like, this is kind of the pace that we've set. You're like, all right, I'm going to try something.
Yeah. And I try new stuff all the time with Watt. It's funny. Like one of the things, your guys' group got mad at me a few things in Arizona that I tried to mix up a little bit. And it's like, look, I'm trying stuff over here. I'm innovating. I'm constantly changing things. Some things work, some things don't. I've tried so many things. With group 1, it was like everything was new. It's kind of wild. Every single event, I was just winging it. I was just hoping it was going to work. I was just trying my best, and I'll be damned, like everything worked basically. And there was a couple things that were a total miss, but and so since then, and also it's like I'm on my 6th group now, and so sometimes I just out of boredom I want to mix it up a little bit and try something different. Yeah,
dang, dude, group number 6. When are we getting group 7?
Dude, so I just came up with something really cool. So I've always wanted to do this. It feels like the right time to do it. But I found a guy, he's in group 5 and he's a total stud. I haven't announced it yet, so I'm not going to say who he is. But he actually came to me and he said, hey, would there ever be an opportunity to lead a group? And I've kind of known that I want to go to the next step of this program, which is letting previous leaders lead a group. And of everyone that's joined Watt, he's one of maybe 3 or 4 dudes I would trust to do it.
Dang.
And so I've been prepping him and training him and mentoring him. And so he's going to take group 7. I'm going to just be hands off of it.
Just give us the exclusive. Who is it?
And he, so we're going to launch it in August.
Nice, dude.
Go. Yeah. And then Mo will take group 8.
Okay, sick.
Yeah. That'll be a year from now. And I think he'll be ready by then.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. Passing it on the legacy. I know I was thinking.
Well, I'll still be like over it all, right? Yeah. But like they're gonna take the group. Like they'll do all the calls, they'll do the Ludices. I'll show up and like speak and kind of be participate for a half a day and then leave, kind of thing. And
okay, cool.
Like really, they'll be the ones doing the one-on-one coaching. You've met Mo. I mean, he'll be great at it too.
Yeah, Mo,
he's ready for it.
That's sick, dude. Yeah, that'll be fun. I think it's interesting. Like, I mean, the big reason why I hired you as my coach was I don't know of anybody that I feel like has spent the time or money on coaching that you have. Like, how long has that been like a thing in your life where you're like actively pursuing learning, pursuing coaching, like programs, mentorship?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to the beginning when I was I first got into real estate in 2005. And how old were you guys?
9.
3 and 9. So when you guys were 3 and 9, it's funny. And my first 6 months, I was hustling. I was trying my best, but I joined a brokerage that didn't really train me very good. Steve DeYoung, that's where I met him at, that did your loan. Shout out to Steve. But he tried helping me a little bit, but he didn't know what he was doing with real estate either. He was mostly doing loans. And I was just lost. I think I sold like 3 homes my first 6 months. And dude, I was broke. I was going to get out of it. And I found this flyer in my desk. It was for this seminar. A guy named Mike Ferry was coming to town. This 3-day event. It's $500. I remember at the time just being like, oh, I did not have $500. But I was like, I got to try something. And the thing that stood out to me is on the flyer, it said, have you ever wanted to learn to sell for sale by owners and have a powerful listing presentation? Those were the 2 things I didn't know what to do. So I was like, I'm going to do this. And so, dude, I go to this event. Day 1 was like amazing. They give us this homework assignment, right? And I went home and I did it and I got a couple of leads. I'm like, oh, this actually works. The day 2, I'm sitting there and they pitched coaching for the first time. And I had never did this. You got to remember, this is 2005. This is 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. My mortgage on my condo was like $900 a month, right? And that felt like a lot. You know, that was overwhelming sometimes. I had 3 roommates and thankfully paying for it. But anyway, I remember they pitched coaching. It's $1,000 a month. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, this is insane. That's more than my mortgage. And, but they gave us a homework assignment. So I went home again and I did it and I got like 2 more leads. I'm like, shit, this is really good. So the 3rd day I go and I'm just on fire. I'm feeling the call, you know, and I share this story because so many people, they want their life to change, but they're not willing to do a drastic thing to change it. And, you know, the only thing that's going to change your life, there's 3 things. It's the people you spend your time around, the information you receive, and the places you spend your time. And so you need to get around new people, new ideas, and new places. And so I said, you know what? I'm sitting there And I'm like, man, I don't even have money to pay for this. So I literally went up to the guy doing the seminar and I said, hey man, I want to sign up for this, but my credit card's going to bounce if you run it. I was like, if you'll give me, I needed 5 weeks. I was closing a house. I said, if you'll wait for these 5 weeks, I'm in. He's all right. So write that on there. And so we wrote this whole thing. And I remember it. I signed up, and 5 weeks later I get going. And bro, my first month with a coach, I listed 31 houses.
Dang.
I knew how to work and I knew how to sell.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what the hell to say, how to say it, or wasn't saying it enough.
Yeah.
So I went to work, dude. And by the end of that year, I closed. So the first 6 months, I closed like 3 homes. By the end of that year, I'd closed 60. Wow. And by myself. And the next year with one assistant, I closed 98 homes. I was one of the 2 finalists for salesperson of the year on the Salt Lake Board of Realtors. But I did like 100% of what they told me to do. Yeah. Like I was all in, right? Yeah. And so I just like became such a fan of coaching and learning. And so he gave us all these books and I was devouring books. I was reading 50 to 100 books a year for 5-6 years. Jeez. And I hired a few other coaches, and it was interesting because the next 2 coaches I hired were dog shit. Like they were terrible. And I realized I kind of got lucky with my first coach because to this day, he's the GOAT. I didn't know that. Like,
really?
Yeah. Oh,
Still your best coach?
He's the best coach for real estate. Like for real estate agents, there's no one even close. Really? Like this is the guy. Sick. Yeah, no. And I just stumbled upon it. Like,
okay, so I
got lucky as hell. Yeah. And in fact, even the guy that was teaching the seminar, Bill Pipes, he has his own coaching program now, and he's unbelievable. He's one of my best friends now. He's spoken to you guys and stuff. But
wait, who is it?
Bill Pipes. He's been on a couple calls with you guys. Anyway, you might have missed that one, but he's unbelievable too. Sick. And so I just had these amazing mentors in real estate. I ended up, if you were to take a poll of like 10,000 real estate agents, say who are the top 5 coaches of all time, 4 of them personally coached me. Dang. Like Tom Ferry, Bill Pipes, Bob Fitzgerald, and Mike Ferry. And so I just had this amazing experience with coaching, right? And, but then about 2010, 11, 12, the market turned, it got really tough. And I was burned out, dude. I was just like, God, I don't want to call 50 people a day anymore. And so I was looking for new ways to grow, but and I didn't really want any more real estate coaches. I'd kind of hired them all, and I kind of still liked my first one the most. And, some Tom and Bill had taught me some good stuff, but I was like, all right, how else can I grow? So I remembered I'd, listened to some CDs of Tony Robbins. I was like, all right, I'm going to see what his coaching's all about. I knew he did one-on-one coaching. And I hired a coach through Tony Robbins, and it was completely different type coaching. This was probably 2012 or so, 13. And ended up getting Melissa, who you guys know.
Was Melissa on?
She was
Tony
working
Robbins?
for Tony. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's how I met her. And so actually the first guy they gave me sucked. I did one call and I called them to cancel. And they're like, wait, we have the most amazing coach. She only usually coaches our platinum members that pay like $100,000 a year. What if we have her coach you? And I was like, I'll give it a shot. And it was Melissa, and I just loved her. And so she coached me for the next, 5, 6, 7 years. And in that process, though, I would go to all these Tony events. I'm going to these other events. And and so long story short, what I've done the last 6, 7 years is I just say, who's the best in the world at the thing I want to learn? I literally want to know who's the best. And then I go hire them. They're all do coaching.
It's crazy.
Or they will if you ask them. And so like, for example, when the first time I did this, I read this book. I was when I left the Mormon church about 10 years ago. And I had a lot of shame around sexual stuff. And I just knew I was kind of screwed up. I was like, every experience I had around sex up to my mid 30s was trying not to get in trouble. There was no love involved. I just knew I had messed up ideas around sexuality. And so I read this book, and it was amazing. And I remember just finding the author, and I'm like, I'm going to see if she coaches. And so she coached me one-on-one and really helped me with a lot of stuff. And so I said, I love this idea. And so what I've done since then is so when I wanted to get into, for example, when I wanted to do podcasting, I found out who's the best, Tim Ferriss. I went and, got around him. And then I got into the coaching space. I said, okay, who's doing this the best? And there was a few guys that were really doing, and I went and I hired them.
As your coaches, or to teach you
as
about
my
coaching?
Coaches. Yeah, to teach me how to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I became friends with a bunch of other guys like Prince EA and Cody Sperber and some of these guys that were just doing it the best, Pace Morby. And then the last couple of years, what's been nice about Watt is, so anytime I hire a coach now, it's kind of funny because I'm learning 3 different ways. Number one, like if I go to a seminar, an event, mastermind, because I've joined all these other masterminds, I've paid $100,000 for a mastermind. I've paid $100,000 for a coaching program. I've paid Ed Milet $20,000 a month to coach me one-on-one. Jeez. But the reason why I'm willing to spend the money to do it
it's ridiculous.
is because So if I hire a coach, or let's say I go to a mastermind, it's 20 grand. So number one, I'm getting the information for myself. So I can learn and grow, right? Number two is I'm watching how they do it. How did they sell me? How did they coach me? How did they set it up? How do they run their event? What does their support team do? So I'm watching all that. So I'm getting better at running events. It's like a second form of learning. And then the third form of learning is I get to go, okay, which parts of this stuff can I now go teach to my guys? And so I've just got all these I'm learning for myself. I'm learning for you guys. I'm learning how to be better at just doing it. So it makes it a lot easier to justify the expense. So I've hired all these different coaches. So like, for example, when I wanted to really dive into my relationship stuff, I just was like, this guy on the internet, Stefanos was the best dude out there. I was like, I love everything this guy says. So I figured out where he lived. I went and hit him up on Instagram and said, dude, I'm going to be in your area. I want to meet you and have you on my podcast. We do the pod. And I'm like, dude, I want to hire you one-on-one. And boom, right there, I hire him. He coached me for a year. And then Neil Strauss, who wrote the book, The Game, which he then wrote a book later on called The Truth that basically said I was full of shit the whole time. But like, this is he had gone. So like for me, when I left that church, the pendulum swings and I kind of went a little crazy for, a decade and just find out what your own life is, your own moral code, what's right, what's wrong, what do I believe, all these different things.
Right.
And Neil Strauss was like that same guy. And he went from being that guy to this, new version of himself that really found himself and family and all these things. And I was like, okay, so that dude went through the exact, and this guy's an 8-time #1 New York Times bestselling author. He's probably the smartest guy on Instagram. So I hired him, and all these guys are costing you $50K a year at minimum. I mean, it's like super expensive stuff, right? Yeah. But so I coached with him for a year, one-on-one every Wednesday for 2 hours. Like, dude, it was immeasurable, the things I learned from him. And so, so that's what I do. And so when I wanted to learn more about Jesus again, to be honest, I was like, there's one guy who I think sees Jesus the same way I do. That's Erwin McManus. He's this pastor out of LA. He's like the GOAT. And he wrote the book, The Genius of Jesus. So I hired him and, he became my mentor. And so, and then I said, all right, here's the best way you can put it. Like when you hire somebody that's already been down that road, they can just collapse time. Like if somebody were to hire me and learn how to run a coaching group, I could teach them in a year what it took me 5 to 10, right? And you're going to make 10 times more money because of what I teach you. I just know how to do it really well. And there's a lot of things I've learned that I can help you not have to learn the same way. And so I could charge now. I mean, my one-on-one coaching is, it's $5,000 a month. And I only take a couple clients at a time because I don't want to do a ton of one-on-one coaching. But my point is like, eventually I can charge even more and more. Because I can teach them how to get there quicker. So what I say is, all right, who is where I want to be that used to be where I'm at today? And then I hire that person. So Ed Milet is the guy that's where I would want to be, like the main #1 speaker, #1 book, like the dude's, he's unbelievable, right? And he used to be where I'm at. So I hired him, paid him for a year, $20,000 a month. And he ended up writing the foreword for my book and we became really close friends. In fact, there's this event coming up here in a couple of weeks called the Man in the Arena Tour. And I got invited to speak. It's 10 different men's coaches. Garrett White's hosting it. He's hoping to have 7,000 people there. As much as I was like, dang, that's such a cool opportunity. I also have a problem with a couple of the speakers. I don't think they're good dudes. And so I actually talked to Garrett about it and I called Ed, and we haven't been coaching together for a year and a half, but he took my call. He always does. And we talked for about an hour about it, and he gave me such good advice. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do it based off what Ed said and how Ed said for me to do it. But then they brought another speaker in that I just don't jam with. And so I ended up canceling and backing out of that. But I still have these mentors. Like Stefanos came and was at the relationship event, right? One of our keynote speakers. And, Neil is always there if I need to. Like these guys have truly become my mentors. Like I found the dudes that are the best in the world at helping me get better at the things that I need to. And so now the latest one I just went and hired was David Dita. He's the author of The Way, the Superior Man.
I didn't know you hired him.
Yeah, so I hired him one-on-one a couple of years ago, but I just got back from his event at the end of March. Spent 4 days just sitting there learning from David Dita, dude. It was wild.
That's crazy, bro. I literally just finished his book this morning.
Yeah, it's the best book ever written for men. The number 2 book ever written, in my opinion, is The Masculine in Relationship. That's G.S. Youngblood. And I also went to his event in January. And he actually asked me if I'd help coach him on some how to throw events.
Really?
Because, his material is so good. He's brilliant, but he's not as dialed in it. Like, how do you get people to sign up and attend an event, you know? And so we've been talking a lot about how to help each other. But cool. These are the guys I want to learn from, the best out there.
That's crazy. Tell me about the David Dita event. What was that like?
Dude, it was different. I'll say that. So, I mean, you've read the book, right? Yeah. And it's cool because like growing up, I grew up in a very, call it chaotic household, which was awesome, by the way. Like never bored, like always something going on, 7 kids, super loud, chaos, right? Braden's actually quiet because it's hard to find your voice in my family.
It's so loud. Yeah. You have to announce your voice if you're saying something. And even then you get spoken over.
Yeah.
Be bullheaded about it.
No, for sure. And so like for better or worse, my house was chaos. And I love it. Like I've always thrived in chaos. And I always thought it was just such a good quality that I could be so comfortable in chaotic situations. And it is. It can be a superpower. Sure. Like you can't throw me in a situation I'm uncomfortable in, basically, especially socially, right? I'm just like, that's where I thrive. However, what I never realized was like in relationship, it's a problem because what a woman needs is a man that's really grounded and really like very non-reactive and in his masculine core. In your masculine core, things aren't affecting you left and right. You're able to hold a lot of space and ground. And so, you know, you read The Way of the Superior Man and you're like, damn, I'm way too reactive. I need to be more responsive and I need to learn how to be better in embodiment work and getting better at this stuff. And so the very thing that was like my superpower also was the thing that really hurt me in relationships. And so I go to this event and I knew damn well what it was going to be. And I was like, I'm going to hate at least half of this because embodiment work is like literally sitting in silence, doing Gong Chi. Dude, we like for an hour straight, we'd stand like 12 feet apart from each other and like have this stick, a bamboo stick you'd hold, and then you would toss it to the other person and then he would catch it. You had to just like stare at the stick for like an hour, bro. It's all about just being present. And
it just brings you into the moment.
Being present. It's all about being present. Yeah. Like being right here, not having your mind other places. Cause like, and David Dita, when I was coaching one-on-one with him, he said, you know, the kind of presence you need to have with your woman, he said, think about it like as a baseball player, when the ball's coming, how present are you about that ball? 100%. You better be. You know where you're going to hit it, right? Yeah. He said, when you're that present with your woman, she will feel that. And, you know, that's how you really, I mean, just break them open in all the best ways. And anyway, and so I'm like, so we would sit there, dude, and just like, we did some exercises. I mean, we probably did staring into other dudes' eyes. Gosh, 5 hours over the course of the 4 days, 6 hours.
Like hour at a time or what?
Yeah, bro. And like you would talk.
Not saying anything?
So you would literally stare at each other and then one person would critique the other on where he's not being present or where he could be better, how he could sit up more straight. Really? Insane, bro. Yeah. And I'm dying. I'm like, this is... And like we did this exercise, you put your one palm up, one palm down, you like put it on each other's hands and you like move with each other with your eyes closed and you're just like following each other and staying present. And then you did it with like anger and then you did it with love I'm over here just like the fact that I hate all this so much is the reason why I know I need to be doing it. Yeah. But it was actually interesting because the first 2.5 days, I'm just like, I am not jamming with these guys. These are kind of guys that like, wear a scarf in the summer. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, they'd rather go walk around without shoes on in the grass and watch a football game kind of thing, you know? And I'm like, this is not my dudes, you know? And I'm kind of in this attitude of that, but I'm also like very much like, no, dude, you're here to learn. But I mean, I am fighting to stay in the room. And they gave us these partners. It was funny because mine was kind of a dick. And I'm just like, no, I don't care. Like, I don't even want to be here, dude. Yeah. And so finally, 2.5 days in, what we do is we'd start the day with like 3 hours of this work. And throughout the day, we'd do some more of it. And then we'd end the day with one of these exercises too. In between, we would sit there and listen for 8 hours a day. People would ask questions to David Dita and then he'd teach us. Okay. It's freaking badass, right? So you're getting, all the questions you could ever imagine. A lot of it relating to The Way of Superior Man and then his other teachings and just I'm soaking in this information left and right, but I still had this bad attitude. Oh, and I got in trouble because they don't let you have food in the room while David Dita's in there. And I was like eating something, an apple, and they got mad at me. And then I was slouching too much and they were like telling me I need to sit up to be more present. It was wild, dude. Wow. And you're like 8 hours in and they're like if you were sitting like you are right now, they'd be mad at you.
Get up there?
No, they would. They'd come over and be, You need to sit up.
See if that helps.
Yeah, dead serious, right? Crazy though. And so I'm already kind of just like, man, I don't need this shit. And so finally it's my turn. I'm like the only guy that hasn't asked a question. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna be honest. So I raise my hand and I'm like, and this dude, by the way, I have the most respect for David Dita. Like I came into it with that much respect. I left with even more respect, but there was also a little bit of like, call it the patriarchy, hierarchy that, you know, one thing I always hated about the Mormon church is like with conference or any leaders, you have to stand up and they're kind of like pedestal and you're supposed to kind of like basically bow to them. I mean, it's like show them this respect and I'm like, whatever. And he kind of was the same way. So they'd have a dude come in the room before David Dita and we all had to go to silence and being ready. And then David would walk in and kind of scan the room and then he would leave and then it was a little bit, I don't know, like, okay.
Super protecting his energy.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm just like, dude, get over yourself, you know? But at the same time, I'm like, I get it. Like, whatever, this dude's earned this. So again, I'm just trying to help you understand my mindset. Right. And, but I'm also learning so much. I'm like, God, this is good. Like, this is so good. And I don't want to be here, but it's so good, but I don't want to be here. And so finally I asked the question. I just said, you know what, man? I was like, all right, I'm just going to be real with you. I was like, I hate this. I hate all of this. I hate staring into other dudes' eyes. If I have to do it one more time, I'm going to kill somebody. I was like, and I said to him, I said, look, I am here because I know that because I'm not better at doing this, like embodiment work and being able to sit in the stillness and all that, I know it negatively affects me in my romantic relationships. That being said, my entire skill set is helping people throw events and parties. I've thrown 250 parties in my life. My group is about helping men connect to themselves and connect to each other. And I'll put my program up against anybody. Like my program works because I'm so good at throwing events and all the skills that I excel at are not the ones we're learning here. That's why I'm here to try to get better at this. And I said, am I just kind of screwed? Do I need to bring more of this in? Because I'm serious. Like I cannot stand these exercises we're doing. Like I have had to convince myself 6 times to stay in the damn room. And David Dita loved it. He loved the honesty. He loved the authenticity. And so we start chatting. We have a good 45-minute talk about it. And he like really honored. He's like, no, he's like, because David Dita, this is the other part. So he told us for the last 15 years, he hasn't really been around. Like if you tried to hire him, I tried to hire him to speak at B1. He doesn't. His team's like, he's not doing that right now.
Was that because his book just blew up and he just made a ton of money and disappeared or what?
He literally told us he's been sitting on a rock for 6 to 8 hours a day for the last 15 years because he's found this ultimate peace and presence. And he says that he only talks to his woman one day out of the week. Bro, I'm dead serious. And so I literally say to him, so as I'm doing my rant and talking, I said, no offense, man, but your whole thing of sitting on a rock for 6, 8 or 8 hours a day, kill me first. Like I want no part of that life. I would never trade you lives. And I can honor that works for you, but God, I would not want to be that guy. And everyone's kind of just like, holy shit, like this guy's going in, you know, and David Dita loved it because it's just real.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and he told me basically like, no, dude, that's never going to be your job. He's like, you can be present for 15-second moments throughout your day all day, but you're never going to be the guy that's just sitting in silence all day. So he's like, basically said, just check in all the time and make sure you're fully present. Like I do it during interviews now. I'll do it during, you know, just like, okay, how present am I feeling? How present am I being? And I just do it throughout the day. He taught me how I could do that to honor just the way I am. Right. So we had this really cool talk. And it was funny because on the next break, keep in mind, there's 30 dudes. There was just 30 of us. It was super intimate. And at the next break, like 8 dudes came up to me and they're like, bro, that was so perfect. That was the highlight of the week. That was the best thing. Yeah, because it was so real. And they're like, God, I've been thinking the same thing. Like if we have to do one more damn exercise staring into the dude's eyes.
Finally,
it's like if I have to toss a fucking stick one more time across the room, you know, and it was so funny. And there was a few people that probably, but you find your people by being authentic. Right. And I was so real. And so even the guy that was my partner, that was my whatever companion dude for the event, who I did not like up to this point, he came up, he's like, bro, I just want to honor you. I know how bad you don't want to be here. And you just keep sticking in the room. He's like, that was really cool for you to open up. Like, and me and him have become super cool. Like we talk a couple times a week on Instagram now. Yeah. He lives in Dubai. He's a black dude from Dubai. He's hilarious.
That's dope.
Yeah. He is all about like dark energies and sexual energy and shit is his coaching. So, and everyone there was a coach too. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, and so by the end of it, It was funny because after that, there was 2 or 3 times where I spoke up about another, because by then I was like, I really enjoyed it after that. And I really was bought in. And it was funny because 2 or 3 times he was going to have us do more staring into each other's eyes shit. And they're like, for Jimmy's sake, we'll just do more questions.
Really?
Oh yeah. And they were like, it was like a joke, you know? And then I made a couple comments that were pretty intelligent. And David Deed, after one of them, he goes, you're not just the fun guy. Fun guy doesn't understand that concept that well. He's like, you know what you're doing, buddy. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm still kind of smart, but so it was cool, man. I mean, that was like a long answer to it, but it was wild.
Yeah, dude. It sounds like there's a lot of really kind of wild stuff. They're making you sit that long. And
bro, if I did that with your guys, you would all quit in one day. There's no way I could get you guys to do it. I have to entertain you guys for 24/7 or y'all threaten to quit.
It's got to be a little bit exciting. You know, you get to sit there. There's even been like one time in breathwork. There's only been one breathwork session where I'm just like, couldn't get into it. So it's like not even an hour, but maybe an hour. I can't imagine 6-7 hours. Yeah. But dude, I was gonna ask you. So you mentioned like, okay, all the value that you kind of look at when you do these coaching programs or you go to these events. But the thing you didn't really mention too much was like, how valuable is it to you, or how like aware of you are of the people that you're meeting there? Is that like a big driving force for you, or do you have like some type of intentional system of meeting and getting information?
I used to. So do you mean the person hosting it or the people that are attending with me?
The people who are attending with you.
Yeah. So when I was on the come up, so here's my best advice to young people too. When you're like coming up in the world, trying to make it, trying to figure out your thing, try to say yes to everything. So I would go to a networking event, bro, and I would know every single person. Like we would become friends. And I just knew how to do that, right? I knew how to connect with them, and I would make sure I knew every single person there. You realize as you kind of get to a certain level in life, you just want less people in your life. And where I already have, I mean, I'm coaching so many guys now. That's part of the reason I'm turning it over to the groups going forward, is like, I feel like it needs to evolve outside of me now. Like I actually want even less people in my life. And so I'm not looking really to network with more people, if I'm being honest. So I'll go, and just depends if there's somebody that like I just feel drawn to or energetically feels like, you know, it's something that but no, I'm not trying to go make a bunch of buddies. I'm really not.
I was gonna say I don't want to. I don't see that as you at this point. I feel like you're a very intentional sniper.
For sure. Yeah. And I'll like each event, I'll find like 1 or 2 dudes. I'm like, oh, I like that guy, you know, or like, oh, this dude seems like a dude I'd want to be around. And it's nothing. And I mean, sometimes they're nobodies. It's not because they're like richest guy in the room or the coolest guy in the room. It's just, who am I drawn to energetically? But no, I you know, when I was younger though, absolutely. And I opened up so many doors. I mean, all of my best friends, like Dustin Van Gilder, I just officiated his wedding down in Vegas last weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
Every single guy in his wedding party of the men, minus the ones that came from her side, like every one of his groomsmen and best men, he met through me. Like, and they all met each other through me too. It was like, I connected everybody because I was always doing that, and it was awesome. And I love it. And I'm like to a point now where I just want to go deeper with all the friendships I have. And so I've shedded off any relationship that, you know, I felt like the person just didn't serve us, you know, wasn't doing the right things or wasn't. That's why like the Man in the Arena tour, in a million years, even 2 years ago, I wouldn't have dropped out of that. You know, the opportunity to meet all those new people, to have all these people join my program. Yeah. But I'm literally like, I don't want to be associated with those guys that are in it, a couple of them.
Damn.
So I just said, you know what? I don't need the money. I don't need the attention. I don't need the status. No. I'm not going to do it. You know, it would have been the biggest crowd I probably ever spoke to, but I don't care. I'm like, I really don't care. I just want to go deeper with all the people that I'm already close with.
Dang. That takes a lot of courage to say no to something like that for more of a purpose.
Yeah. And it just, I literally play this game where I just check in and I go, wait, like, and you know, you don't do this in the sense of like, so I'll just check in and be like, is this the thing I should be doing? Like, do I truly want to do it, or why am I doing it? And just ask myself good questions. I'm like, why am I doing this? And sometimes you kind of get, so like this morning we do a workout now every Saturday morning at my new house in Draper on my tennis court. I have Mo come do a workout, and it's a pretty hard workout. It's a HIIT workout with some movement stuff. And I woke up this morning, I did not want to do it. I just wanted to lay in bed, right? I'm not saying that's the kind of thing where I'm like, I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. Like, I still got up and did it because that's what a productive human does. But as far as like do I want to go to this event? Do I want to, connect with this human? Do I want to pour energy into this thing? And if the answer is no, I'm like, I no longer do it. I don't do it. And so it's been I think that that's like something that comes with age. Before 40, it was like a yes to everything, especially like 35. And I think I would give you two the same advice. Try to say yes to everything. Try to connect with everyone. Like put yourself out there. You never know what door it's going to open. I mean, some of the craziest, dude, like I'll give you one example. Like I dated this girl, Stacy, 15 years ago, and we broke up, and I met her brother-in-law while we were dating. I love this guy. His name's Jerem. I'm like, God, what a cool guy. So I wanted to stay in touch with him. Well, he sends out about 2 months after we broke up. This is when I was like 26, 27. And we break up, and he sends out this mass message. It didn't mean to go to me, I don't think, but I got it. It was a couple's trip to Lake Powell, and he invited me, and I was like, I kind of want to go on a couple's trip to Lake Powell with this guy. I just want to keep the connection. It was all about the relationship with him. And so I hit him back. I'm like, hey man, can I get a date and come? He's like, dude, let's do it. So I get a date, random girl, and end up coming on this trip. Well, on that trip, I met Jake Burt, who became one of my best friends. I met Curtis Marshall. By the way, Jake Burt ended up joining Group 1. Curtis Marshall, who's in Group 6, was on that trip. I met him, Steve Mortensen, and then this guy named Tyler Bennett. And Tyler and I, we meet in the kitchen in the houseboat. I'll never forget it. Just one of the nights we have this conversation. And he was working with these investors, and sometimes they would have a real problem finding them homes. They weren't working with very good realtors. I was like, dude, give me your worst person next time. Your worst one, the one that no one else wants to work with, that no one else can help, and let me see what I can do. So he does, and we crush it. These guys weren't even difficult, dude. They just want to be taken care of. I ended up selling through Tyler over the next decade, probably 600 homes.
Jeez, dude.
I would have never met him without just saying yes to a total random thing.
Wow.
He's now my business partner. He runs my real estate team. I turned it over to him a couple of years ago. So I still like do stuff, but he does all the legwork. He'll close 270 homes this year for me and him.
Wild.
Yeah. I was texting with him this morning. We're selling an office building he and I own together. It's gone up like $400K since we bought it, and we just got an offer. Like this dude's become like one of the most pivotal humans in my life. I would have never met him if I wasn't very open to just saying yes to whatever opportunity fell in my lap. And I could tell you 20 of those stories. That's just one I shared it. So like when you're younger, yes to everything, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely taken that strategy. I've said yes to so many freaking things.
Even running of the bulls. That's how you kind of jumped into what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude. How did you find out about running of the bulls even?
I think you just posted about it, and I was just like,
no shit. That was
I
how
always
you
wanted to freaking do it.
Hell yeah.
I was in the tribe at the time and was kind of like, wanting to kind of go a little deeper with the group. I had seen some benefit, and yeah, I mean, dude, going with the bulls, going back again this year. Like since the running with the bulls, I haven't missed an adventure trip. Like once I started, I've gone on all of them. I love it, bro. So I'm going to try and keep that going. And yeah, I'm excited to go back this year, man. I think this will be your third time?
Second time. Oh, third time for me, but the one time I was like 21.
Yeah. Second time with the group. This will be my second time running it. When you did your first to your second, did you take any more risk, or were you?
Oh yeah. Well, so part of like being in charge of the event is I knew with 70 guys, there's a high probability someone's going to get hurt if I tell them the secret.
Yeah.
You and I know the secret now.
What is the secret?
Well, when you run with the bulls, as the bulls come around the corner, I knew where to put us. I put us in a very strategic spot, and I knew everybody gets pushed off to the side. So as you start running, 2/3 of our group got pushed off to the side, probably 3/4. There was very few of us that the bulls actually ran in between. So I was one, Brad Crowful, a couple others.
Yeah.
Because I knew everyone was going to get pushed, so I stayed left, and I just kept saying, stay left, stay left, stay left, stay left. And so I stayed left till the bulls were running past me on both sides.
Nice.
And so that's how I got like sick photos and videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But if everybody does that, somebody's going to get messed up. And so that's why we only ran one day, because by the second day, everyone's like, oh, I got pushed to the side. I should have, I wish I stayed in the middle. And it's like, that was on purpose. Yeah. So hopefully if people are listening to this, they don't get too brave. But that's the secret, is to stay left.
Dude, last year I was pretty adamant about touching a bull. This year I'm like scared to say it, but I have this weird desire to touch all of them. Like, what was the guy that guided us? What was the guy that ran with the green scarf?
I can't remember his name, but
he was saying that ever since he said, like, he opened my mind to, I try and touch every bull, every run. I'm like, that sounds insane.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're not standing on Dead Man's Corner, and as long as you're not just a total doofus, like you should be okay.
You can touch a few.
But when you see those bulls coming and they're running through the alleyway, there are few adrenaline rushes like that one.
Yeah.
I can think of these moments in my life. Like that was one.
Yep.
The first time I swam with tiger sharks with no cage, and you're just staring at deep blue and you see it come in from the deep blue and it looks like a school bus. You're just like, holy shit, that thing can eat me if it wants.
Yeah.
When, I saw the gorilla for the first time in Africa, and it's like, I didn't know gorillas climb trees. And so we came around this corner and this giant ass gorilla is freaking 100 feet up in this tree, just ripping branches down, dude. And we're all just staring at it like, the whole thing going on right now, like 100 guys versus a gorilla.
Yeah.
It was, I was standing next to them, and
what's your perspective on that?
I watched a video of a guy that said he choked out a gorilla, and I believe this. Apparently gorillas aren't actually made for
combat.
Yeah, they don't know how to fight. They don't know what to do when their whole thing is dominance. And so everything from the puffing up to the smack in their chest to the growling, it's all meant for dominance and to declare dominance. And so, if 100 dudes rushed a gorilla, maybe 3 or 4 would get fucked up and another 20 would get messed up. But I think about 30 dudes, you could take a gorilla.
Yeah. Start getting so many shots to the head after a certain point.
Well, somebody could choke it out.
Yeah.
I think so. You get on its back. And
you don't think it would just...
If you have dudes on each arm and dudes on each leg, you got to all attack at once. If you take your sweet time, you're in deep trouble. I know. I keep seeing these videos too. It's like the girls are like twice as big as they are in real life. Like I've walked in the wild with gorillas and it's ginormous.
Silverback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're big. Mm-hmm. I mean, but I don't know.
You think you got it?
Who's going first is the question,
Yeah, that's the thing. There's the psychological aspect of it.
Yeah.
You got to,
I like these games where you're like, what if we got like 100 convicts, right? They're doing life in prison and whoever gets out alive
is free.
Yeah.
This is population.
Well, we laugh. This is what the Romans did. They had slaves.
That's crazy.
And then they'd send them in against lions and all these. No, this is real. This is what they did to entertain
They did it with
themselves.
slaves or prisoners?
It was the same thing. They were gladiators, but they were slaves. And to win their freedom, they had to win these crazy contests against like lions and wild animals and other gladiators. And that's how it worked, dude. And all the games were rigged for them to lose because the way that they would do it, I study Spartacus. I love him. But they would reenact famous wars from that they had won, Rome. And so like the slaves or the gladiators would represent the enemies.
No way.
And then they would rig it so that they'd kick their ass. Yeah. And so it was like, that's why everyone loved it. It was like, we're winning again. It'd be like if you did a reenactment of World War II and all the slaves were like the British, but like their guns didn't really work.
Jeez, bro.
And so you're like,
Romans were wild.
So you're watching the redcoats get mowed down and you're yelling and screaming, because patriotism. And that's how that's what it was.
I can't imagine. I guess the whole like bullfighting was similar to that level of, that's like killing the animal.
Yeah, they did it with humans, bro. We think we have good sports now. They had sports, bro. They had sports.
I don't know, dude. That's fucking, that's gnarly.
You see like a movie like The Purge, for example, right? And you're like, God, I don't know if we're that far off from humanity getting there, dude. It's like, they throw these things out there in movies to see how people receive them.
Yeah.
And if that's received well, they kind of start implementing. That's what I think, but...
You think so?
I don't know.
It's like all the futuristic.
We'll see.
All the futuristic movies like iRobot and all that stuff, and then we have humanoids that look exactly the same.
I'm telling you, it's going to be we won't recognize this world in 10 years with everything. So.
That's what I think. I honestly think like with AI, like it's just gonna advance everyone so quickly when people really start learning how to use it. Like I'm starting just now learning how to like I'm investing more into it. I don't know if you've done this. If not, you need to do this, you as well, where you just like download as much of your information into it about like who you are, what you do, your schedule, and then ask it for holes in your game.
Brett Horrocks has been uploading a lot of my stuff to like create an AI for me. I've actually never used it.
Really? Like ChatGPT, you haven't gone on?
I have never used it.
Bro.
You want to hear my theory?
You absolutely have to.
You want to hear my theory?
Yeah. Let's hear your theory.
Okay. You two are too young to remember this, but when I was younger, your age, how old are you, Braden?
23.
Yeah. When I was your age, we didn't have, like, some people had a Jarman in their car. That was the first, like, GPS, but
they printed
about
it.
20, or you printed off a MapQuest. Before that, you just were really good at getting around. Like I could have got here with no problem. I would have absolutely known how to get here. Just so you would have given me directions and it would have worked. I'd have got here.
Yeah.
Like you'd have been like, yeah. And then after the Maverick, it's like your second left. It's going to be called this road. You go down on the first house on the left. Like that's, you would have just known. And you just always showed up to the right place. You just knew how to get around. GPS comes out. We're all freaking retarded.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows how to get anywhere. No. I wouldn't trust you guys to run to the grocery store from here for me without plugging into your phone. The point is, we did that to ourselves. We quit using the part of our brain that was really highly advanced to help us get around. So people that are becoming dependent on Chat GPT, I get the lure and I get the like why people are doing it, but I actually am resisting it because I feel like I want to unplug myself more from the matrix, not plug myself more in. The second you start offloading your creativity or some of these things to Chat GPT, it's just harder to get it back. I think people will be just as dumb on their own creativity as we are with maps now. And so my own theory, this is my own thing, and maybe I'll get left behind, but I'm not doing it. So I just officiated that wedding and everyone kept saying like, oh, just plug in a Chat GPT. They'll tell you exactly what to say. I'm like, no, this needs to come from my heart. Like they're kind of, that just cleans it up for you. I'm like, no, it needs to have errors. That's like what makes us human is that like, that shit came from my brain, not from some computer.
To play devil's advocate and explain why I like it still is because I sat and I literally like described myself, my life for probably like a good 20 minutes and was like, tell me something I don't know that I should be focusing on that I'm not. And it was like, judging by your busy life, you need to focus more on how to just be. And then it like listed all these exercises and things that I could do to just like be more. And it was something that like,
you already knew that though.
I mean, kind of, but like,
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. It just like kind of helped bring the focus.
Kidding. Look,
and
I get I get it, and I probably need to learn it. But I also like my theory.
Fair.
It gives me an excuse to be lazy to not have to learn it.
I totally see what you're saying because, like, yeah, if you can't like the problem solving with ChatGPT, I use Grok is just like so insane.
You plug it into Twitter?
No, it's like its own app.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Because you can use it through Twitter too.
I've never done that. I've just always used it as its own app.
Got it. I think one of the buttons now on Twitter is like to use Grok.
Okay, so check that out. Yeah, I use it for like comparing. Like if I'm looking at a purchase of two different things, I'll just have it like make me a report of like these two things and compare it. You know, and
dude, I just go off my gut.
You just go off your gut?
Yeah, on everything.
I mean, honestly,
for better or worse.
That's how I've been like most of my life.
And how's it served you?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, bro. I think we're plugging ourselves another extension into the matrix. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't think I need GPT to tell me
is.
where my holes are at. I know what my problems are. There's plenty.
I don't know, man. Because it's
all I need is to sit in silence for 20 minutes and meditate. I know all my issues.
What do you think would have happened if you had that mentality with like cell phones and you were like, I'm not going to do it?
It's different.
Why is it different?
Because cell phone actually serves you to connect more in different ways. So, but also you can make the argument that cell phones are an absolute huge problem. You know, you're not old enough to remember. Were we better off before cell phones? Hell yes, we were.
You think so?
Oh my gosh. Talk to anyone that's had both things.
Oh, like
because
socially.
you just sat and connected with people. Yes. Yeah. It was human. Dude, I was at dinner last night. I was on a date and I'm looking at the table across from me. It was a mom and dad and like a 25-year-old kid. The dad and the kid did not look up from their phones the whole meal.
Yeah, that's wild.
I was like, that's insane, dude. I was in a, where was I? It was Montenegro, dude. And I was sitting there. I was on a trip a couple years ago and I was in the most beautiful place I've ever eaten dinner. It was on the beach, waves literally coming up to your feet, beautiful candle lit, everything. There's a castle on your left, ancient ruins on your right. I mean, this is a place you get proposed to.
Yeah.
And the couple sitting to my left over here did not look up from their phones to each other the entire time. You tell me the world's a better place because of cell phones. Now, look, there's a million reasons why cell phones are amazing, right? But would I prefer to be like in 1999 where we're very, very, very rarely using cell phones or today? Bro, I'm telling you, society peaked in 1999.
I think they hurt us more than they help us.
100%.
I was at a wedding last night.
As far as being happy goes, because what makes us happy? But you're at a wedding and what?
I was at a wedding last night, and that's literally half the people were on their phones during all the talk time stuff. talks of things that I'm like, they got me in tears saying what they're saying, and the other people are laughing over here, just like not paying attention. And I'm like, what happened to being here for the people we're here for? Like, why aren't we connecting, communicating, and like actually hearing what's being said?
That'd be kind of cool if it was like a stay at home thing.
Well, so here's what my next thing I'm going to do is I did this a couple of years ago. I went up to a cabin for 2 days without my phone by myself and just sat. This was an exercise I did.
Just read or what? What did you
I did
do?
some readings. Just sat. Just be with myself.
Dang.
Like you can't even
I can't know.
fathom the concept of just
I can
sitting
do that
with
for
yourself.
like 20 minutes maybe.
Right. This is the problem. This is why we can't just be.
That's crazy.
What ChatGPT told you need to do. I'm telling
Stay
you.
in a cabin for 2 days?
I'm not saying a cabin for
what I
days, but an hour in the wilderness. Yeah, probably. And the point is like, I didn't miss social media. I didn't miss people, but I felt so unplugged from the world. I felt so lost from like what's happening. And what I experienced was, oh, that is what it feels like to be unplugged. And it's like, we've been plugged in for so long. When was the last time you were unplugged for a couple of days?
Man, like truly didn't have service. I feel like I didn't have service. I went snowmobiling with Johnny for like a day.
Yeah. So a couple hours.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Half a day.
Yeah. Like the whole time I was just like, hope something's
so
not
that
going
anxiety,
bad.
right? And it's like, no, the world goes on without you.
Yeah.
There's like a joke on the internet. It's like somewhere there's a dude that has no cell phone, and he's sitting at a waterfall and has no idea he's supposed to be worried about wars in Ukraine and Iraq and all this other shit. You know?
That's what's crazy is I've thought about that. Is I'm like, part of the reason probably why there's so much like anxiety and stress is we have not evolved to process the entire world's problems all the time, every day.
Yeah, we were never supposed to worry about all these things.
Like we know everything. Like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. This
and
is
so
bad.
again, it's just my point. And by the way, like, look, at the end of the day, this is the world we live in. We have to adapt. So it's doing little things like being off your phone more. So Neil Strauss, one of my mentors that I told you about, he has a lockbox and he puts his phone in it when he's done for the day. He's a writer too, right? So he needs blocks of time where he's not distracted. Mm-hmm. So he literally puts his phone in a box and it has a code and it will not let him open that box until like 4 o'clock each day.
Dang.
So he wakes up, he goes surfing, comes back, has his coffee, goes reading, and then he writes for like 4 or 5 hours. And then he goes to the gym, and then it's usually by then it's about 4 o'clock, and his phone finally is free for him to use it.
Dang.
And then he'll use it for a couple hours, and he puts it back in the box till the next day.
Yeah, it's so crazy to think about because I'm like imagining myself doing that. I'm like, even when stuff goes insanely horribly bad, it's like you could probably still fix it like the next day and be probably just almost just the same.
You can. I've lived in a world where that's what we did.
Yeah.
It really worked.
You didn't fix anything
like
until the
people
next
were
day.
fine. I will say for traveling, it's really nice to have a phone.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I traveled a little bit before cell phones, before the iPhone. And dude, we were in Spain and we had tickets that were physical tickets. Okay. And it was for first class on the train. It was like an 8-hour train ride from Paris to Portugal, Brisbane. And my buddy lost him, got him stolen or lost him or something. There's no replacements. We had no way to buy new ones. We couldn't get these first class tickets. And so I had to sit in a box car with 3 people right in front of me and literally shoulder to shoulder like this for 8 hours straight. It was the longest night of my fucking life.
Dang, dude.
And the whole thing was because there was just no technology.
Yeah.
Right. Nowadays, you would just have the ticket on your phone and you'd pull it back up. Like, so I get it. Like, gosh, phones are so convenient, right?
Yeah.
And they absolutely are a killer to true connection in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think I've like justified it in the past by just being like, oh, I could stay in touch with like all these people through social media and stuff. But it's like, I don't know. It's
you can't, dude. I was where was I? I was at Zupa's yesterday and I was buying my salad. And they sell a cup of strawberries. Do you know how much they cost? Why don't you guess? They put chocolate on it. They say it's from Dubai. That's how they pitch you, okay? To make it like
how many strawberries?
Delicacy. 15 strawberries, 12.
Maybe like $8.
Dude, it's $18 for a cup of strawberries. So the guy's, I'm like, how much is the cup of strawberries? He goes, $18. I'm like, you want $18? So I'm making a quick little video, just making fun of them right in front of him. I'm like, hey, if you guys are hungry and you got an extra $18, you can get some strawberries at Zupa's. And you can tell the dude was kind of like, wait, where did he just post that? And he's like, so he goes, where do you post stuff? I was like, just on social media. He's like, oh, do you have a big following? I was like, It's decent. Between TikTok and Instagram, it's like 600,000. And it was kind of funny because you could tell he was probably just like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. But what it really did was, what was even funnier is I started thinking to myself, I'm like, I said that so nonchalantly. 600,000 people watch stuff when I post it.
Yeah.
And like, I was at dinner last night, the same meal where I saw 3 people over here on their phones.
Not paying attention.
The couple right here, the lady comes up and she's like, I'm so sorry. I know you from social media. She's like, this is you, right? And she had my freaking profile pulled up. My date was laughing her ass off. She's like, you're famous. I'm like, shush. And, but it was hilarious. But like, my point is like, even this podcast we're doing right now, this would be pointless without our phones. Like nobody would listen to it, right? It's like, there's so many advantages. So we have to learn to adapt to the world we're in. But I just think it's important to just be aware that some of these things can be at the detriment of your happiness, your peace, create anxiety.
Can definitely be overdone.
Things,
That's kind of what I was saying. I was like, I've justified it and like had it and like, oh, it's good. But then there's definitely been like an overuse for sure. Need to slow down a little on social media. But dude, I've been reading a lot more and spending a lot more time doing that and like actually feeling like you can make it habitual just like the phone. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can go down these like spirals almost. Like I started at 10 pages a day and then like a week later I'm reading 20 and then by the end I'm like 30, 40 pages a day. And it's like,
dude, reading's a superpower. I have books all over my house. If you come over to my house, every table has books on it because it's just, there's just something about picking up a physical book and reading it.
Yeah, it's something I kind of was thinking about as I was wrapping up this book. I was like, why is this book so good? You could just watch a video, like you could watch YouTube and like learn from people. But I'm like, this is like so intentionally edited and like very intentional. Like the level of editing is just crazy. Whereas a video is just like, we're just free.
Yeah, well, and the thing about a book, it's anything, you're very... that presence, to go back to that, like when you're fully immersed in something like that, your brain's working differently. Your brain works different when you watch something versus when you read something. Mm-hmm. So your brain is actually engaged, it's firing. And then so here's the beauty of going to an event, for example. People are like, why should I go to your mastermind, Jimmy? I can just listen to you online. Because when you're at the event, your brain, you're focused, you're intentional, you're telling the universe you're serious about this thing. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that container, you're going to get inspiration that would have never came to you if you weren't in the room. Yeah. You've got to be in the room, right? It's the connecting is obviously a part of it, but really it's the inspiration that you get by being intentionally there. So same thing with a book. You're just going to get so much more out of that because of the intentionality that you're putting in the focus you're putting into the.
Dude, you are so freaking right on that. Like our coaching with Matt and Laura, we were gonna just like do it virtual. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it's an hour away. Like let's just do it virtual. It's once a week. That's gonna be like way too much, right? And I thought about it, and I remember I think it was you that was like had talked to me about this before about like actually showing up, being in the room. And I had like remembered it from something, and I was like, let's go. I think it'll be more impactful. And absolutely is way more impactful being in the room and like feeling the energy.
Totally. There's an energy. Yeah. It's an exchange. Like a lot of the stuff that never gets said is it's the same reason I drove out here today. Like we could have done this over Zoom.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's a whole different thing being here.
Completely different. Yeah. Dude, I really appreciate you coming out here for this, man. Like it means a lot, it's a mob. It always means a lot when anyone comes, but I know you're an especially busy guy.
No, so dude, I'm happy to do it. It's cool you guys are doing it. It's pretty fun. One of my favorite things with group 2, Mark McCormick interviewed every guy in the group on his podcast.
Nice.
And Nick Halland interviewed most of them, and it was just really cool. It's cool to have that. It's cool to have a place where you guys can share your own experiences.
Oh, bro, we got to do that.
With everyone else.
Sweet. We got to get everyone on LG4 on here.
That's more than doable.
It's cool that you guys are doing it.
Couple things I wanted to ask you. Oh, I wanted to ask you, what's the driving force and like where are you aiming your energy now? Like what's in the future, Jimmy?
Yeah, man. I mean, I just bought my new house, and part of the intention of that is I want to, the next step for me is slowing down. I'm paying it off. I'm selling a few houses right now. I'm just going to pay my house off. And then, like I said, We Are the Day is going to evolve into its next portion where I'm going to have other people doing the day-to-day work. And for me, it's going to be just being.
Really?
Yeah. ChatGPT didn't even tell me that. I just knew.
He's a smart guy. Well, you're ahead of your time, man. I mean, I still got to catch up.
But that is really what it's going to be about. That's like cool, just being super intentional about, going for walks every day, working out every day. I want to learn skills like cooking and things like that, and literally just do less. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude. That's hearing that from you is pretty wild, considering you've been to over 100 countries. You've done every single thing and been go for so long.
Yeah, you find out what makes you happy, man. And like, I kind of just want peace. I enjoy, like this week was a very good example. I had my buddy's wedding, went down for 4 days and I was his best man and officiated his wedding. So played all out, just went to everything, tried to be a participant in everything. And then we got back, and one of my other best buddies, mom died of cancer. My buddy Cameron, the co-author of my book. So he flew in from Jersey and spent, a bunch of time with him this week, just being there with him. And then my other buddy, Jeremy, one of my other best buddies, he had a nose surgery. It's just gnarly. He's had a sinus headache for like 4 months straight, like terrible. I don't know how he's functioned. And his wife runs a women's group, and she had her big retreat this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so I've gone over literally probably 8 or 10 hours this week already to just spend time with him. So I've literally this last 7 days spent probably half of my time just being with my friends, the people I go deepest with.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I spend a lot of my time now. That's what I want to do.
That's awesome. Stoked for you, man. It's pretty crazy hearing some of the similarities with the stuff you're working on. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that's been going on in my life, like it wasn't just the ChatGPT prompt that kind of is taking me in that direction. Like I'm simplifying a lot of things and not just like obsessed with trying to grow as much as possible. Actually, one of the things I just did for myself, and you're going to laugh at this, is for the first time in my life, my financial plan includes a cash position. Like I was just like, don't need cash. I have credit cards and I have investments I can sell if I need it. It's just go, like fill the next investment. And I've just like held myself in this stressful spot of like,
I used to do it too. My coach, Melissa, she used to beg me. She's like, just get 3 months. Just get 3 months. Cause I just always buy another house.
You're like, no.
And then it was like, finally I did the 3 months. And then it was like, okay, I need 6 months. And and then it was like, okay, you get enough to not have to worry about it. But
and what the peace that comes with that?
Yeah.
Like, totally worth the growth.
Yeah, I mean, you never have to do anything. You're not ever making decisions because it's the economic thing. Well, like you've seen examples of this. Like you didn't go on the trip we did where it was we went and swam with tiger sharks. But I mean, on our way out there, the wind kicked up and there was no way we were going to be able to go do this. And I got 36 dudes flying out to do this.
I remember this story actually. Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, I asked him a great question. I said, what would a crazy person do? I've got to entertain these guys. We got to do something. Is there a crazy option? Yeah. And he's like, well, you can, book this private plane and you guys can go to another island and swim with giant hammerheads. I'm like, done. I didn't even need to know it was all my profit, but it didn't matter. It was like, this is what we're doing. And I didn't have to make the decision based on like, oh shit, I got to pay salaries this month and bills. And it was like, that's the thing that we're going to do. And I've ran the program like that since day one.
That's dope. Yeah, I can definitely tell you run the program like that. Because I'm like, dang, this is a lot of stuff. But yeah, dude. Well, I think that might be it, man. I don't know. You have any other questions? You got your uncle here. I mean,
not a ton. I do want to kind of touch on you. Have lived a very busy life is probably the best way to say it, but you've found a way to bring people with you everywhere you go. Kind of touch on where that comes from. Where did you find that? Like,
yeah, it was strategic. The nice thing of being a realtor and running a men's group is, my work was to stay in touch with people. So I had an extra 8 to 10 hours a day where it was literally my job to just connect with as many people as possible. And so I just found out, all right, what's the funnest way I can do that? Well, if I'll throw parties every month, I'll throw big events and dinners and all these different things. And then, there's the famous saying, it's like, it's not where you're going. It's, it's the climb, it's the way up, but it's not even that. It's who you do it with. And so just, every single thing you do in your life is going to be that much more fun when you do it with people you want to be with. And so 100%. I think that's the key, and part of that was like when I was climbing the social ladder, I let a lot of people into my world that shouldn't have been there. If you Google any kind of people that come after me, it's always the people I'm associated with. It's never anything that I've done. It's the people that I've been close to. But I mean, I've got 700 podcast episodes. I've had 50 best friends. Like I have put myself out there a lot. And I think that's why now I feel like I've really shed a lot of the excess baggage and weight, and why I'm looking at it different. But I just was willing to put it out there for better or worse, and try stuff. And the number one thing, man, is just try stuff. Go meet people. Go throw an event. Throw a party. Like go on a trip with a bunch of people. Like anytime you do that stuff, I've never regretted any of that. And you just kind of find out what you like, what you don't, who you like.
What works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I like it. Awesome. Well, I think that's probably it for the pod today, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.